All right, let's get into the Friday feed bag where we look at emails, YouTube replies, Twitter posts, TikTok messages and comments, and all these different things to see what is on the minds of the audience. We start with a really angry critique of the business model of the show, where Craig in Ohio says, I guess I can't watch these videos anymore. If it's an interesting story, but the resolution can only be seen in a bonus show for paying subscribers. I was happy to subscribe and glad you have sponsors for the regular shows. But if the regular shows are now just teasers to extract money from me and the resolution of the story is considered a bonus, I have to look elsewhere. It makes me sad to see this kind of capitalism. Why can't YouTube just continue to be a great thing that is free for everyone? It wasn't meant to be a job, and now I'm an employer of the shows I watch. It wasn't like this before. How did greed get in here? Maybe there really aren't any Democrats anymore. Maybe it's just me. And everyone else wants to live the Trump way, even if they don't admit it. There's probably no point in voting. I give up. I think I should just stop looking at the cell phone, return to my record collecting, and let the world go on without my observations. That escalated quickly. So a couple different things. First of all, I'm not really aware of where we put the resolution to a story on the bonus show. I suppose there probably is some story where there's an aspect of it on the podcast and then some aspect of it ends up on the bonus show. I'm not denying that that's possible. But this whole it wasn't meant to be a job thing. This is what the left fails at and what the right understands. This wasn't meant to be a job suggests to me that progressive YouTubers should not make enough money from doing progressive media that it can be their only job and they should have to have some other job. Apparently there would be more virtue in what I do here if it didn't make any money and I had to go and work another full-time job, then come home and do this. That doesn't make any sense. And part of what the right gets is that you get the most effective and highest quality sort of platform for your message when the people doing it aren't having to work some other job. And it's the same concept as when I say, hey, if everybody had healthcare, we would be much better activists because if you get sick and you don't have health care, it's hard to be a good activist in that scenario. It's really the same concept, which is if we put progressive independent media people in a position of having to put together shows after work between, making dinner and putting their kids to bed and working their job. And then the right just fully funds all these people who just are out there and this is their thing, then we lose once again. So it wasn't meant to be a job. I don't even know what that means. It is true that the economics of content creation are such that it's really hard to get going initially. It's really, really hard. This show made zero for years. Once you get to a certain scale and you get past the barrier to entry, the economics of content creation are such that then all of a sudden you can make a very nice living. That's just kind of how it works because of how the audience size grows. That's not really a good reason to say, well, you should have to work some other job. I think we lose when we start with that approach. Okay, let's do one more angry message. This one's from John Anderson on YouTube, who says, everything you leftists accuse the right of being is what you are. Fascist, a threat to democracy, a threat to the Constitution. Congratulations, you've become the party of the warmongers, the party of Big Pharma, and Dick Cheney endorsed your candidate. What fools you have become. I used to have a lot in common with people on the left. They have really gone off the rails. It's not the left that has said it's okay to suspend the Constitution when I deem it to be so. It's just not the left. That didn't come from the left. Fascism. I looked. I didn't find it on the left. I've found lots of things I don't like on the left, and I call them out when I find them. Fascism is not the one that I'm finding. Dick Cheney endorsed your candidate. Dick Cheney made it clear He doesn't agree with Kamala Harris on policy. Dick Cheney has simply said the groundwork, the foundation of democracy is important enough to me that I can't vote Trump. And this time, I'm going to be voting Kamala Harris. There's nothing right-wing about Kamala Harris's platform just because Dick Cheney said, I value democracy enough that I'm going to put country over party. So very scary message. All right, we did a poll on the David Pakman Show YouTube channel asking, does Donald Trump have dementia? 47,000 of you voted. 57% believe that it is clear that Trump is suffering from some kind of cognitive decline. 36 say it's possible, but you're not qualified to say. So overall, 93% of the audience believes it's either obvious or possible that Trump is suffering from cognitive decline up to and including dementia. 7% of the audience is not convinced of that. Those are some overwhelming numbers if I've ever seen them. Okay, Reflex Point from the subreddit says if Harris loses, I'm not sure we'll see a female nominated for some time. Saying that if Kamala Harris loses, it would be the second time a highly qualified, smart, psychologically normal female candidate will have lost to a sociopathic moron unqualified for the job. And Reflex Point goes on to say, if that happens, it'll be a while till we see another woman nominated. So 2 thoughts on this. Number 1, I do believe that if Kamala Harris loses in just a few short weeks, the Democratic Party will not nominate a woman in 2028. However, I do still think that it's completely plausible that Republicans might end up nominating a wildly right-wing reactionary woman. But as far as the analysis applies to the Democratic Party, I do think the next nominee will be a man if Kamala Harris loses. We will see. A bunch of reactions to my appearance on the Digital Social Hour with Sean Kelly, where we discussed tariffs, among other things. Here is one from Jacaranda, who says David Pakman doesn't fully understand tariffs either. Ultimately, the tariffs make the Chinese good less attractive and reduce the demand for them. Price times volume equals revenue means China gets less total revenue. What Jacaranda doesn't understand is that Trump's view, the view from a lot of these right-wingers on tariffs is, you put a tariff on China, all of a sudden everybody will buy that thing domestically and it'll be great for American companies. It's a delusion because of a couple different reasons. Number 1, a lot of the things we get from China, we can't just tomorrow start manufacturing or buying domestically because we don't have the supply chain set up. But that doesn't even really matter, because even if we do, if you say, okay, this product is now more expensive from China because you've got to pay the United States government a tariff, what most companies would do is they would go to the next cheapest option. So you don't say, well, I can't get it from $100 for $100 from China, so I'll buy it domestically for $150. No, you would go, well, I can't get it for $100 from China, but I can get it for $102 from Thailand, or I can get it for $104 from Malaysia, or I can get it for $110 from Morocco. You wouldn't immediately go to the US. And that is another one of the failures of this entire tariff scheme that Donald Trump has come up with. So a lot of the people who wrote to me criticizing what I said about tariffs, acting like I don't understand tariffs, they don't understand tariffs. Zonky, also on Twitter, said this is trying to imply that all tariffs are bad by distracting you with who pays, but ignores the fact that the very point of the tariff is to incentivize people to buy American. David Pakman, constant liar and charlatan. Again, it doesn't happen that if all of a sudden it's more expensive from China, you go and you buy it at the most expensive price from the United States, if you even can. It can take decades or longer to establish these supply chains. For all the accusations that I'm the one who doesn't understand it, we've done extensive coverage of when tariffs do make sense and how to implement them. We've done it. I know that. I understand it. It's the random people on Twitter sniping at me who seem not to understand it. All right, AJM. I love messages like this. I love it. AJM tweeted, I guess, or I guess we call them excretions now because it's called X. AJM excreted the following message. David Pakman's numbers just keep declining. I've been observing him for quite some time now. His decline in numbers in all social media spheres just shows how most don't really take him as a serious source any longer. I'm sure he's probably seeing it in his financial numbers. I love this stuff. Inject this into my veins. We had the best month in the history of the show in August, and the second best month in the history of the show in September. Just now. August and September of this year are by far the best 2-month period the show has had ever. There is not a single platform on which our numbers are declining. And for a decade or longer, there have been people like AJM who produce nothing of value. They do nothing of value. They just go on Twitter and excrete negativity. Okay? They've done nothing. And meanwhile, we have as many YouTube subscribers as we've ever had. We have more Facebook followers, TikTok followers, Instagram views. Every single platform is at its peak today. And so the people wishing for the decline, saying, oh, David, you're circling the drain, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Shipwreck wrote on YouTube, finally, Pakman puts on a dress shirt. Stop with your t-shirt. You're not a teenager, David Pakman. And of course, it's the wrong you're, Y-O-U-R, as opposed to the contraction for you are, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Negative comments disproportionately likely to contain that. Listen, it doesn't really matter what I wear on the show. Okay, it really doesn't, or at least it shouldn't. I'm putting myself together. I'm showering regularly. I'm fully clothed. Let's focus on policy. Let's focus on winning this election. Please, t-shirts. Who cares about a t-shirt if we defeat Scrumps? Let's do it. All right, we've got a great bonus show for you today. Sign up at joinpakman.com. Pre-order my book, The Echo Machine, at davidpakman.com/echo. Great bonus show. Full week of shows next week. I wrote a book. This was so much work and a long time coming, but I am thrilled about how it turned out, and I hope you will read it. The book is called The Echo Machine. The 10-second summary is I explain how things broke in American politics, how to fix it, and which countries have already figured it out. No matter who wins in November, we need a plan, and that's what the book is about. If Trump wins, the book is a warning about how we got here and how to prevent it from getting worse. If Kamala Harris wins, the book explains what we do with this incredible opportunity to improve the lives of Americans. The book faces long odds, I will admit. There's the belief that to have a successful political book, you need corporate media, and that it really can't be done successfully with an independent media platform like mine. But I believe that we can prove them wrong. I hope you will order the book today. You can get The Echo Machine at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore, ask them to order The Echo Machine by David Pakman. No matter where you get the book, you will get the free pre-order bonuses, including a signed book plate. After ordering, just go to davidpakman.com/freebookstuff. davidpakman.com/freebookstuff to get the free stuff. Let's do this.